Hey there! Welcome to this fun and easy English learning video. Today, I'm going to show you one of the most effective and simple techniques to improve your spoken English. It's called the shadowing method. So, what exactly is shadowing? Well, it means you listen carefully to someone speaking in English and then you immediately repeat what they said. Like an echo, but in English. It's a smart trick to help you speak more fluently, understand faster, and build real confidence when having conversations. To make this even more fun, I'll share a short story with you. The story is told by a young woman, and she's also the main character. Are you ready? Then let's dive in. And hey, before we begin, make sure to hit like and subscribe so you can enjoy more shadowing stories and keep practicing your English in a fun way. My name is Lena, I'm 22 years old, and I live in a quiet little town with my mom and my younger brother. I work at a bookstore, a small, cozy one, and honestly, I love it. Being surrounded by books all day feels like living in a peaceful world. But one day, something unusual happened. It was a rainy morning, the kind where the sky feels heavy and the streets are silent. I woke up early, stretched, and checked my phone. There was a message from my best friend Sarah. It said, "Lena, please come to the airport today. I need you, 12 p.m. Terminal 3. I blinked. What? The airport? Why? She didn't explain anything. I tried calling her, but her phone was switched off. That made me even more confused. I looked at the clock. It was already 10 a.m. I only had 2 hours. So I threw on my jeans, grabbed a pink hoodie, took my umbrella, and quickly told my mom, "Mom, I have to go. Sarah needs me at the airport." She looked a bit nervous but nodded and said, "Take care, Lena." I hopped on the next bus. It was rainy, cold, and packed with people. I didn't get a seat, so I stood all the way. Outside, the sky was a dull gray. As we got closer, I could see planes flying in and out through the misty windows. Finally, I reached the airport. It was huge, busy, and buzzing with sounds. The airport was full of noise and motion. People were rushing past, chatting loudly, dragging heavy bags, and checking signs in every direction. I looked around for Terminal 3. It took me nearly 10 minutes to finally find it. But when I got there, no sign of Sarah. I waited. 10 minutes. Then 15. Then 20. Still no Sarah. I started to feel a little anxious. My eyes scanned the crowd again and again, but instead of Sarah, I noticed something else. Near the large glass window, a girl was sitting alone with a small suitcase beside her. She looked upset. Tears rolled down her cheeks, and she was trying hard not to cry. I slowly walked over to her and gently asked, "Hey, are you okay?" She looked up at me. Her eyes were red and puffy. "I missed my flight," she said in a quiet, broken voice. "And now, I don't know what to do." I sat beside her and smiled softly. "My name's Lena. Can I help somehow?" She nodded and said her name was Emily. She had traveled all the way from another city just to visit her father, but unfortunately, she was late, and her plane had already taken off. I reached into my bag and offered her a bottle of water. She took it, thanked me, and we started talking. Despite everything, she seemed kind. And after a few minutes, she smiled and said, "You're really sweet. Thank you for sitting with me." Just then, my phone rang. It was Sarah. I quickly answered. "Lena, where are you?" she asked, her voice sounding worried. "I'm at Terminal 3. I've been waiting for you." "Oh no," she said, panicking. "I meant Terminal 2. I'm there now, and I'm scared. Can you come quickly?" I turned to Emily and said goodbye. Then I got up and started running through the airport, my heart pounding. The noise, the people, the rush, everything around me felt like a blur. Finally, I reached Terminal 2. And there she was. Sarah, sitting alone on the floor, crying softly. "Sarah," I called out. She looked up, saw me, and ran into my arms. "Lena," I didn't know who else to call. "I'm so scared," she said between sobs. "What's going on?" I asked, holding her by the shoulders. Then she told me something that made my heart drop. "I think someone is following me," she whispered. I froze. "Wait, what? Who? Why?" I asked quickly. "I don't know," she said, shaking her head. "But, on the bus to the airport, there was a man staring at me the whole time. He made me feel uncomfortable. When I got off, he got off too. So I rushed inside and tried to disappear in the crowd. I looked around. The airport was packed, loud, full of strangers. Maybe it's nothing, I said, trying to stay calm. Maybe you're just nervous. No, she said firmly. I saw him again, near the coffee shop. Suddenly, Sarah's eyes widened. She leaned closer to me and whispered, "That's him." I turned my head slowly in the direction she pointed. Near the exit doors stood a man, wearing a black cap and a long brown coat. He was staring down at his phone, completely still. A strange chill ran down my arms. "I'll go talk to him," I said quietly. "You stay right here." But just as I took a step forward, the man glanced up. He looked directly at us, then turned around and walked away, vanishing quickly into the crowd. We stood frozen, watching him disappear between travelers. "Do you believe me now?" Sarah asked softly. I nodded. We sat back down on the bench, not saying a word for a while. The noise of the airport faded into the background. Then I broke the silence. "Let's talk to airport security." Together, we walked to the help desk and explained everything, from the message to the man in the brown coat. The officer listened carefully, then said, "Don't worry. We'll check the security cameras right away." That gave us a little relief. Sarah turned to me with a tired smile and said, "I'm really lucky to have you." I chuckled and replied, "Well, next time. Send me to the right terminal, okay?" We both laughed, the kind of laugh that comes after a big breath of tension. But deep down, something still felt off. Who was that man? Was it all just a strange coincidence, or was there more to the story? I looked at Sarah and said gently, "Let's go home. But we need to stay alert." She nodded. We stepped outside together. The rain hadn't stopped. It tapped softly on the pavement and dripped off rooftops. I opened my umbrella, and we got into a taxi waiting near the curb. We sat in the back seat, trying to relax. But just as the car started moving, something caught my eye. Through the foggy window, I saw him again. A man, a black cap, a brown coat, standing near the entrance, staring right at us. My breath caught in my throat. Sarah held my hand tightly. I slowly turned my head to look again. There he was, standing beneath a tree, barely moving, his eyes fixed on our taxi. The rain began to fall harder, streaking across the glass, and I leaned closer to Sarah and whispered, "He's still there, he saw us leave." Sarah leaned toward the window. She saw him too. Her face turned pale, and her eyes grew wide with fear. "Do you think he'll follow us?" she whispered. "I don't know," I replied honestly. "But we're not going straight home. We need to be smart about this." I leaned forward and told the driver, "Sir, Can you take us to the main city mall instead? Sure, he nodded and took a turn. I kept glancing at the rearview mirror. My stomach dropped. A black car had turned right behind us. Sarah, that black car, it's following us, I said quietly. She looked back. It was him, the same man, now behind the wheel. Her hands tightened into fists. Why is he doing this? She asked, her voice shaky. I don't even know who he is. I had no answer, just 100 thoughts rushing through my mind. When we reached the mall, we got out quickly and stepped into the busy entrance. The place was loud and crowded, people shopping, chatting, and walking in every direction. We thought maybe we'd lose him in the crowd. But we didn't. He parked his car and kept following. We walked fast, first into a shoe store, then into a clothing shop. Sarah kept looking behind. He's still coming, she said, her voice trembling. I grabbed her hand. We need to find a security guard. Now. After a few minutes, we found one near the food court. Sir, I said, trying to stay calm. There's a man following us, please help. The guard's face turned serious. Can you point him out? We turned and pointed. The man stood near the entrance, pretending to look at a display. The guard walked up to him and asked, Sir, why are you following these girls? The man looked confused for a second. Then he said, I'm not following anyone. She's my sister, he added, pointing at Sarah. Sarah's eyes widened. What? That's a lie, she shouted, stepping back in shock. The guard didn't waste time. Sir, you need to come with us, he said firmly. But the man suddenly turned and tried to run. 2 more guards appeared from nearby and blocked his way. They grabbed his arms and held him tight. The police were called. We sat down near the security office, trying to breathe. A kind lady who worked at the mall brought us cups of tea. Sarah was still shaking. I put my arm around her shoulders. A little later, the police arrived. They took our names and asked a lot of questions. They also requested footage from the mall's security cameras. After what felt like hours, one of the officers returned. You were right, he said. He's been following you since the airport. But why? I asked. The officer looked serious. He had some photos of Sarah on his phone, along with her name and address. Sarah gasped. But how? Who is he? She asked, stunned. We're still investigating, the officer said. But it's possible he's a private investigator. Someone might have hired him to follow you. Sarah whispered, No, it can't be him. I turned to her. Who? I asked gently. She looked down at the floor and said, My ex-boyfriend. We broke up last month. He was really upset, maybe too upset. The officer nodded slowly. That could be the reason. But we'll investigate and find out for sure. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I was so scared, she said, her voice shaking. I hugged her close. It's over now. You're safe. After a few hours of waiting and questioning, the police finally let us go. If we need anything, we'll give you a call, the officer said. Outside the mall, the rain was still falling, but now it felt different. Softer, calmer, like the storm had passed, not just in the sky, but in our hearts too. We took another taxi home. Sarah leaned on my shoulder and fell asleep. Her face looked peaceful, like she had finally let go of the fear. When we reached home, my mom opened the door. Her face was full of worry. Where have you girls been? She asked. I saw the news. Something happened at the airport. I told her everything. She hugged us both tightly and whispered, "You are my brave girls." That night, I couldn't sleep. I just lay in bed, thinking about the message, the airport, the stranger, Emily, the man in the black cap. So much had happened in just one day. But strangely, I didn't feel scared anymore. I felt proud. I had helped someone I didn't know. I had protected my best friend. I had stayed calm, even when everything felt out of control. A week later, something beautiful happened. I was at the bookstore, helping a customer. Suddenly, I heard someone call my name. "Lena." I turned around. It was Emily, the girl from the airport. She was smiling wide. "I found you," she said. I laughed. "You remembered the name of my bookstore?" She nodded. "I wanted to thank you again. You really helped me that day." We sat down for coffee. She told me that she did meet her father that night, and now, she had moved to our town. "I don't know many people here yet," she said. "Can we be friends?" I smiled. "Yes, I'd really like that." That day, I understood something deeply. Sometimes, scary things happen. Sometimes, we don't know why life brings challenges. But when we choose to be brave, when we help others, when we stay kind and strong, good things find their way back to us. I went to the airport just to help a friend, but I came back with so much more. I found courage, I found friendship, and I discovered a strength inside me that I didn't know I had. Now it's your turn. Watch this video again, and this time, pause after each sentence. Repeat what you hear using the shadowing technique. Copy the voice. Feel the emotions. Speak with confidence. This is how your English will grow, step by step. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. More shadowing stories are on the way. Thank you for learning with me. See you next time.